So this didn't end well. I don't know which thumbnail I'm going to use for YouTube because YouTube lets you test a couple out. Whichever one performs the best is the one that you'll end up seeing. But there's a YouTuber that decided to jump on Hinge and Bumble and Tinder and pay the premium. He tried it for free for a little bit, and then he tried the $50 a month premium, and he bought the boosts and all this other stuff. He probably spent well over $1,000, maybe even more than that. And I think most of you will say, well, the results sound about what I expected it to, but even I was surprised how it ended for him. And his end summary, I remember if I left it in the clip because his original video was like 30 minutes and I cut it down to about 3 minutes. But the stats, I mean, it just, this is a guy he's not great looking. No shade on him. I'm not a good looking guy, but some of us are just kind of average. And it's like, what's it like to be an average dude on dating apps? And the CEOs, they even know. They're like, guys are just bailing. And so there's burnout. And I'm going to read a couple of stories before we get this guy's video in there. Because most of you guys know this, but there's still guys, and I see it from some of you in locals and others that are like, I do either fine on dating apps or I get nothing. And if you're blessed with good looks or athleticism or something that a woman glances at and in one half of a second she goes, maybe, then you have a chance, but everybody else is kind of out. This is from the New York Post. Here's what's causing dating app burnout. And they say basically it's one of two things. They have a video here. The last half of it is just cringe music. So I'm going to mute the cringe music part. But a guy kind of went viral on TikTok because he said, my female coworker has already 39 people she's talking to on a dating app. Now, if women are on dating apps, which something like 70%, somewhere between 60 and 80%, I forget the number, but it's very high. Large percentage of women are on dating apps. It's literally no effort for them. They can swipe through, and if she's talking to 39 dudes on a dating app and you're not on a dating app, and you try to go to talk to her in the real world, maybe you meet her at a pub or something, you want to buy her a drink, or you're at a coffee shop, and you say, hey, can I get you a cup of coffee? Or I'd like to talk to you and get your number. Her answer is likely going to be no. I've got 39 other people I'm already talking to. And the odds of her saying, I'll give it a shot, it's pretty low. She's already got her, I guess you could say her dance card full. She's already kind of full. Anyway, this guy says he's just blown away because she just signed up. I'll let this play for a second.
My female coworker has already 39 people she's talking to on a dating app.
See, the only thing that I run into when it comes to that is that you started this 3 days ago. 2 days ago. Do you realize, for guys, we have to wait, weeks to get, likes, let alone a person that we are interested in?
All right, here's where the cringe music starts to play. Why they don't just do an proper interview, I don't know. So let me mute this. So he's right. A woman signs up and boom, fresh meat. She's already got 39 matches in 2 days. He's like, we have to be on there weeks just to get a match, let alone somebody to talk to. So I got this muted now, but they say there's plenty of fish in the sea unless you're a man, apparently, which if this is written by a woman, Brooke Steinberg, she wouldn't know. Jeremy Crier's gone viral on TikTok after revealing how many more matches women get on dating apps compared to men, declaring there's no hope for men in cyber love. He said, but women in the comment section were quick to point out that matches aren't everything. One woman from those 39, only 2 are good. And I had over 4,000 likes in 6 days, got overwhelmed and didn't proceed. Are we supposed to feel bad for women? She got 4,000 likes in 6 days. Now, even if she says, I got overwhelmed, she's still going to say to herself, wow, I am hot commodity. I am extremely desirable by men. I'm not a 6. I'm an 8. I'm not a 7. I'm a 9. I'm not a 5. I'm a 7. This is the hyperinflation of women's own expectations in the dating market. I mean, this Sam might be perfectly fine looking. She might even be cute, but the point that you sign up on something and all of a sudden you've got 4,000 men banging on your door to try to get you out for a date, instantly you're not going to be like, well, I'm average. Nope, I am a 7. Even if on a good day with makeup, she's a 5. It's just hyperinflation. That's all. This is what's causing the problem with women's expectations in dating. And then even if you're not on the apps and you said, I'm just going to talk to a woman in the real world, like I'm just going to go meet her, she's going to view you as lesser than her. They say if you feel burnt out by dating apps, you're not alone, and there's a reason behind it. Hinge CEO Justin McLeod revealed in a recent interview with the Financial Times that dating app fatigue is usually due to one of two reasons. One is that you're overwhelmed. There's so much activity and so many people, and everyone starts to look the same, and conversations are dying, he explained. Now, that's the women, right? The women get on there, they're hit up so many times, there's so much going on, they get overwhelmed and they tap out. Or Chad Chaddington, right? But that's not many of us. He said the other reason, McLeod said, is lack of reciprocation. At the other end of the spectrum, a lot of users get very, very little activity. They burn out because they're trying to get that match, and they send a lot of likes, but then they're not even getting enough reciprocal activity to go on one date. He added, people want to spend more time out on dates and less time on the app. Now, the way they could fix this, there's actually a pretty, I was thinking about this the other day. How could we fix dating apps? The one way I think you could fix it, let's say a woman gets 10,000 swipes and a guy gets 1,000. You'll call those 10s. And then a woman gets 5,000 swipes and a guy gets 500 swipes. You'll call those 8s. And if you start sorting it by that way and showing 8s other 8s and 10s 10s, and you show 5s 5s, then it would realign everything. But right now, the way that they do this is they want to show the pretty people to everybody, to give you hope that maybe you're going to date or get one of those pretty people. And so those are the ones. So a 5 is sitting there swiping all day long on 10s or 9s or 8s or whatever, thinking that she's going to have a chance with him. And they need to realign this to where people are seeing people that are about the same attractiveness level that they are, to kind of put things back in check. But that's not what they do. They've even said that they use algorithms, and the good-looking people get shown to everybody because they want you to think you're going to get somebody good, so you keep paying the money, so you kind of get addicted to these apps. It's not about, oh, we want people to find somebody and get off the apps. That's a lie. That's how they make money. They want you to feel like, well, if I pay a little bit more and pay a little bit more and pay a little bit more, I got a chance. That's where the video comes in today, where this guy goes out and he's like, I paid the extra. And it didn't turn out well. We'll just say that much. He added, people want to spend more time out on dates and less time on the app. I don't know if that's true either, because there are women in relationships. There are guys in relationships, but not nearly as many. There are women in relationships that just do it because they're bored. It's like they're fishing. And so, a woman that's in a relationship that's going okay, but she wants to keep her eyes open, she's out there swiping all day trying to look for something better. And if it comes along, a lot of times she'll go hook up with a guy, at least cheating on the guy she has because she's bored. And at best, if it turns out that maybe that guy wants to date her, she breaks up and she leveled up. It's hypergamy. So there are tons of women that I just swipe because I'm bored. I just swipe because I want a free meal. Though McLeod claims that Hinge is the app that very squarely trying to address burnout by prioritizing quality over quantity, a recent study found that algorithms on dating apps substantially boost profiles with a high so-called attractiveness score. Right. They want you to keep thinking you're going to get better. Keep paying, keep swiping. It'll happen for you. Previous data has shown that a small fraction of dating app users get most of the attention. Right. The best looking people, the good looking people. It's all about the picture. In a 2017 report from Hinge, which appears no longer to be available on the site, but was previously cited by courts, found that the top 1% of men receive more than 16% of all likes on the app, while the top 1% of women just get over 11% of all likes. Now, even though that's only 16%, but that's the top 1% of men. What about the top 5% of men? What about the top 10% of men? They're probably getting 60, 70% of the likes. The bottom 50% of all men, 50% of all men just got 4.3% of all likes. And the bottom of 50% of women got 7.9% of likes. So these apps, by just showing all the beautiful people, give people an unfair belief that they're going to get better than they actually can. And it's breaking people. A 2023 survey from Pew Research Center found that Americans are generally split over whether their experiences on dating apps were for the better or the worse. Out of those surveyed, 53% said their experiences were at least somewhat positive, while 46% said their experiences have been overall very or somewhat negative. So everybody that's below a 5, negative experience, Everybody above a 5, probably somewhat okay. And again, the video that I'll be playing here shortly from this guy, he kind of came away from it like, well, my experience was not very good, which is an understatement. But he said, I just don't think it's for me. I don't think it's for a lot of people. They say they're hoping that AI can help swiping and make more matches. The opportunity of AI is that it allows us to function more and more like a matchmaker that's really, really targeted introductions and helping people put their best foot forward. Now, what he's talking about is, we'll help you write your bio. We'll help you put your best foot forward. We'll help you choose your best photos. It's not going to help. It's not going to help. The pretty people are getting the attention. A CEO, and this is Grindr CEO, so obviously this is not a CEO of a traditional dating company or dating program, but he's a guy and he's a CEO, and he says Tinder and Bumble are tanking because they treat men badly. One of the things that strikes me about how Bumble and Tinder approach the world is that, frankly, they don't treat 70% of their users very well. He said men outnumber women roughly 3-1 on both Bumble and Tinder, yet those apps don't even try to improve or smooth men's awkward experience. Even though men are the ones who more often pay for premium services, he said their experience remains frustrating, leading to many men to quit online dating. That exodus pans out in research. 80% of college students and other Gen Zers in the age group that is by far on the dating apps are foregoing regular dating app usage for in-person interactions, according to Axios and Generation Lab study. Now, what I wonder about that, I wish they would break it down by men and women. I'm guessing women that are into hookup, women that are into trying to find like the hot guy or the popular guy, they're probably still on the dating apps. I have a feeling that those women are on dating apps and they're getting the hookups, they're getting their backs blown out every weekend, but in the real world, they're trying to actually find somebody to date. These women have even said it before. Like many of them have said, why would I date? What do I need men for? So they just sleep with them. I mean, they've said just about as much. And many of these girls are getting huge body counts while they're in college. It's because they're on these dating apps. So I'd like to know, is it women are 90% on the dating apps and guys are like 10 or 20% on the dating apps? And so the average is out to be 70 or 60 or whatever the percentage is. I'd really be curious about that. I wish somebody would dig into the numbers a little bit more about that. Cannell Barrett, founder of the coaching site Dating Transformation and popular dating advisor on Instagram, told Fortune that the features dating apps provide to men don't actually end up helping them. In his 20 years of advising men, he's never seen men be more frustrated, more fatigued, and just burnt out with dating apps than now, he said. He attributes this fatigue to an inequality on the app. About 20% of the men are getting the majority of the matches, a figure that Hinge analyst leaked and then quickly deleted in 2017. Now, when we talk about all these women are going for the top 20% of men, it's not like we're just pulling this number out of our ass. It's not like we're being hyperbolic. So many times when we talk about this stuff, people say, oh, you're just a butthurt incel who's not getting any date. No, it was actually data that was leaked from an analyst at Hinge, and then Hinge probably made him delete it. 20% of men are getting the majority of matches. That's the top 20% of men. They're getting the matches. So 80%, it's the 80-20 rule. We've been talking about this for probably close to a decade. Well, this data came out in 2017. It's even worse now today because women are like, I don't need to date. I just want to sleep around and have fun. I'm a powerful, strong, independent woman who don't need no man. They say the ones who create a really good, compelling profile, they're getting most of the matches. Now, it's not creative, really. Look, you're going to tell me Danny DeVito goes out there and puts together a really creative, interesting, funny, cool profile, and he's getting 80% of the matches? Bullshit. It's Chad Chaddington, the good-looking guy who puts the bare minimum of effort, or he's a freaking model and he has headshots, and he uploads them and he gets all the action. Let's not even pretend like it's about the really good, creative, compelling profiles. It's 100% looks. And the women have even admitted this. That means 80% of men are really struggling, and these are good, attractive, dateable, amazing men. I know because they're my clients. And so I would love to see the dating apps take a more democratic view on how to help them. That help could come in the form of AI-generated dating advice or a feature that allows men to talk to a dating therapist in the app. Instead, app utilizes men's frustrations for their own benefit. Okay, so what happens if these apps come out with AI? Hey, do you want an AI assistant to help you, talk you through it, to get you more matches? Yes, please. That'll be $100 a month. We know they're going to do that. They're not going to give it to you for free. It's going to be another premium feature that costs you $50 or $100 a month to get dating advice from AI. Some guys will pay for it. They'll get grifted into it. They'll spend the money. The AI will tell them to make all these changes, and it boosts their percentage by 0.044%. And I use that number specifically because that's a number that this guy in the YouTuber dude actually has. So, and then that guy's going to be like, you know what? It's a grift. They made the money off me. He moves on from dating apps. After trying them for a few years, and then what happens? The next young guy turns 18, doesn't have any luck. He tries it for a couple of months or whatever. They get the money from him. He says never again. The next 18, and they just keep grifting young men. They say users of all genders have accused apps like Hinge of hiding the most attractive profiles unless they pay for a premium service. Hinge's CEO denied the app has attractiveness score, but the app does feature standout profiles, which are the ones getting the most attention, which is the best looking ones, and which a free user would have a harder chance of matching with. You can only reach out to one standout a week unless you decide to purchase more features. While Hinge says this makes the dating pool both more efficient and intentional, it's undeniable that the standouts gamifies users' experiences on the app by increasing competition and incentivizing them to pay for upgraded services. This could be leading to burnout that Barrett says is impacting men now more than ever. Yeah, if you think, oh man, I pay extra, I see better looking profiles, maybe this gives me a chance at these people, these women, and then you pay for it, and then you swipe on them, and what's the end result? You're not going to match with them because it's giving men a false expectation. Because let's be honest, I don't expect I'd ever date a supermodel, right? I consider myself an average dude, 5. I'll just say that, right? Because I guess I would consider myself an average guy, deficient in some areas, and I do better in some other areas. That's kind of average. I would not expect to get on a dating app and meet a hottie, or even have the opportunity to swipe on a hottie, because let's face it, most of them either A, won't match with you, B, are bots trying to hook you for some offline, to scam you, or C, it's somebody selling their professional services or their link to OnlyFools content, and they say, oh, come talk to me on Instagram, follow me on Instagram, where over there they talk to you about their OnlyFools account. So instead of doing that, instead of having these boosts that show you the best looking people and falsely screwing with men and women's expectations, there's algorithms you could put together that says, this person gets the average number of swipes. We're going to call them average. We're going to show them more average people. That would be the way to actually get people to find somebody. But that's not what these apps want. And as a matter of fact, they're being sued over this stuff. They say initiatives like these prove that executives are only focused on women's experience, according to Arison. In fact, he added that the way executives talk about men on earnings calls with investors is actually really negative, to the point where they're offensive to them. I'm not even their target audience, Arison, who's gay, said with a chuckle, but still, as a guy, I'm offended. He didn't expand more on what he heard on the earnings calls. However, comments from a May earning call with Match Group CEO Bernard Kim indicates an extensive focus on women's experience on the dating apps while not mentioning the men at all. Gen Z and women's experiences in particular are our top priority, Kim said. They're literally the most critical demographic for all dating apps. We know that women need to feel empowered and respected when they're on our apps. Okay, so they feel empowered. They're getting all the matches. They feel respected. Because Bumble even made the app to where women have to speak first. And then, of course, if you match with anybody, the women are like, hi. And that's it. That's their intro. And if you try to come back, and I know this firsthand experience, I've used the apps probably a decade ago, and you get on there and you say, hey, how are you? What's new and exciting? Or whatever. He didn't have a funny pickup line. He wasn't his first hello was boring. I have 7,300 other matches to look at. Boring. You have to entertain me. You have to come up with something funny or creative or interesting. Dance for me, monkey. Dance for me. And guys are just like, I'm done with this shit. Well, this guy, I forget his name, and it's a shame. But I wish I had a link to his channel because I want to give him credit for this. And I went through and looked through my history and I couldn't find it anymore because I made this video several weeks ago and I watched so much crap on YouTube and Rumble and all the other channels out there that I can't find it anymore. So I apologize for not getting you the link to the full video. I tried to do that and I messed up. But this guy said, hey, you know something? And it's a good video. It's got like 400,000 views on it. And he put together 30 minutes of a real deep dive on this stuff. Well, I'm gonna play his intro and his thoughts about it, and then we're gonna talk just about the data. And you're gonna realize very quickly this turned out poorly for him. He bought the premium stuff, he bought the likes, he bought the Bumble sending matches to women. He did pretty much everything he could to try to make this successful. It does not end well.
So I did something crazy. I swiped over 139,000 times across multiple dating apps like Hinge, Bumble, and Tinder, the 3 layers of hell, and dug through my dating history data to find out, are dating apps pay to win? Apps like Tinder, Bumble, and Hinge are no longer about connecting people. They're businesses driven by making money.
Now, he says their business is driven by making money. That's the sentence I cut off. You can see here the dating app revenue and Tinder is skyrocketing. All of them are going up. It's about making money. It's not about matching anyone. That's the truth of it. It's not about finding you somebody. But can you imagine the time it takes to, I didn't do the math on this, but now I'm curious. Where's my phone? Let's pretend you don't read. Let's pretend you don't read a profile. You just swipe on it. 140,000 swipes. Let's say it takes 60 seconds per swipe. That's 2,333 minutes if we divide that by 60. If we divide that by 60, that is almost 40 hours. That's 40 hours of going left, right, if you only take 1 second per. But guys that actually want to date, people that actually want to date somebody, they want at least, I mean, at least when I was on it, I'd read the profile. I'd look at multiple pictures because a lot of times they're holding the phone 7 feet over their head with their chin in the air, only showing cleavage. And come to find out in a normal photo, they have 4 chins and they're actually 300 pounds. So guys that actually want to date and not waste their time, you do have to take 10 or 15 seconds. 10 or 15 seconds. Is this worth my time to really? This is why guys just give up. They get so few matches. They're just left on everybody, and I'll filter it out and see what happens from there.
Money. These apps are filled with premium features that make you feel like paying for a subscription will boost your chances of finding love. Whether it's more profile visibility, unlimited swipes, or extra super likes, these features promise shortcuts to more matches, love, or even getting it on. To see who likes you on Tinder, it costs $40 a month. Bumble Premium is...
Now, let me pause here. He says it costs $40 a month for Tinder Gold to see who likes you. It's not actually $40. It's $45.99. $46 a month. So basically, if you do that for a year, that's going to cost you $500, $600, roughly $550, whatever it is, just for Tinder Gold. That's $500. If you do that on 2 apps, that's $1,000. That's very easy to do. Now it says, oh, if you sign up for 12 months, it's only $15 a month. What a great deal. That's still a crap ton of money. That's still, what, $150 roughly, something like that. 12 times 12 is 144. So yeah, it's $160. How is that? And you still don't get anything. Anyway.
$1 a month. Bumble Premium is $40 a month. Hinge X is $50 a month.
Now, hold on. I sorry to keep interrupting this, but he's glazing over a bunch of this. He says Hinge X is $50 a month. If you do it for 6 months, you get it for the great low deal of $150. So even if you get their best package, that's $300 a year. And many of you that have been on the dating apps say, well, you know, if it gets you good returns, wait till you see the numbers of his returns. You'll be like, this guy spent thousands of dollars for nothing. He got bilked. That's how most people feel when they do this crap. And the dating apps, they sucker everybody, or they sucker a bunch of people one time. And then people say, this isn't worth it. But then they go on to the next sucker and the next sucker. And it's they're just milking people. That's all they're doing.
A month. And it gets even crazier. And now it seems impossible to use many of these apps without opening your wallet. To find out if dating apps was really worth it, my plan was simple. I needed to use these apps a lot, track my experience, and find as much data as I could to give you all enough information to make an informed decision. A lot of people don't realize that you can actually request your data from these dating apps, and you could find out how many people liked you, swiped, how many people you matched with, and more. With this data, my personal experiences, and a few extra steps, we can actually get some real answers about these dating apps. Over the course of my time on the app, a little over a year and a half, I sent out a total of 1,936 likes and received 90 matches. Of those 90 matches, 84 came from people I liked first, meaning 4.34% of the likes that I sent turned into matches.
Now, I'm going to keep pausing this. I don't want to interrupt him, but the screens go by so quick, and I want to talk about the actual data that's on the screen. So he sends 1,936 likes. That's not the total number of times he swiped. So he says he's about 2,000 swipes. Likes received 6. He sends 2,000 likes. He gets 6, or 0.31% of his total likes, which means 99.69 of the likes that he had, he sent out. He got 0.31% of likes. Does this sound anywhere close to level or even or equal? That is so much work for a guy to go through. So even if you pay the Tinder premium or the Bumble premium to see how many people liked you, he got 6 out of 2,000 likes that he sent, 0.31%.
The remaining 6 matches were from people who liked me first. The fact that only 6 out of all my interactions liked me and led to matches highlights how selective this process is, and possibly how tough it can be to stand out on these apps. To me, after seeing these numbers, it's making me think that maybe using these apps isn't the most efficient way to connect with people. I decided to subscribe to Hinge X, the $50 premium version. I wanted to see if this premium version actually delivers on that promise of getting 3 times as many dates. For over a week, every day, I would swipe on 10 to 20 people to see if I could get matches, data, and information to compare. During this period, I sent out 105 likes. From those, I only got 1 match, a success rate of just 0.95%.
Okay. Yeah, he even says,
Yikes.
Yikes. So here's every day he jumped on there, likes sent 20, 10, 10, 10, 10, 15, 10, 10, 10, 10. He wasn't on it very long because he said he didn't see the value of the money on it. But if you look at the likes received, first, nothing, 1, nothing, 1, nothing, 2, 1. He did all this work for a 0.95. He got less than 1% a match rate. Less than 1% match rate.
From those, I only got 1 match, a success rate of just 0.95%. Yikes. Less than 1%. After 20 days, Bumble has finally sent me my data. I don't know why it took that long, but we finally have it, so let's dig into the numbers. So during my time on Bumble, I swiped a total of 58,584 times, saying yes to 21,857 people and no to 36,727 people.
Now, I want to say right there, he says he swiped almost 60,000 times. Yes, 20,000 roughly. No, 36,000. He's being selective. He's not just swiping yes on everybody to see how many matches he gets. Because that wouldn't really count. He took the time, at least enough time, to say, no, she's not my thing. Yes, my thing. He at least looked at the pictures and said, this is, so he didn't just mass flag everything of yes to everybody. How many matches can I get? He was selective and he said no to roughly 60% of the people, something like that. He said, listen to this.
127 people. On the flip side, 373 people swiped yes on me, while 15,238 swiped no. Ouch. That means that just 2.39% of people who encountered my profile chose to swipe right. My overall match rate would just be 0.044%.
His match rate, his success rate, 26 people matched, that they got a mutual match, out of 58,584. Now, you guys know that have been on these dating apps, a match doesn't mean that it's a human being. It could be a bot. A match doesn't mean that it's somebody selling their OnlyFools service. That could be that. Or you might get a match. It might be a real human being. Then you send a message and hear nothing back. All you guys out there know that a lot of these matches are either bots that are trying to send you offsite to scam you. There's somebody selling their OnlyFools content, or they never reply, or you go back and forth 2 or 3 times, and then they just evaporate and never talk to you again. And you're like, what happened? Where did they go? His match rate was 0.044. That's not less than 1%. That's not less than 1/10 of 1%. That is 1/2 of 1/10 of 1%. That means 99.95% of women said no to him. I wish he had clarified how bad of a number that is. And you wonder why men are giving up on this crap? Why men says they're, and then there's guys that are like, I get tons of stuff. Yeah, you're getting everybody.
Of all of the swipes I made, a shockingly low number. Without a question, Bumble has been the least successful dating app for me compared to others. Now, having said that and seeing that low percentage point, you might think, what's the point? So I asked for my data. It only took a few days to get, and to analyze it, I used a website called Swipe Stats. And the findings were...
Now, he says he uses Swipe Stats to find the data. I want to go back to this screenshot. He says, number recap so far. 0.95% match rate with Hinge X. Now, Hinge X is the $50 a month match rate. That's the pay $50 and get matched with 3 times more people than regular Hinge. He paid for that $50 a month. He got less than 1% match rate.
What's the point? So I asked for my data. It only took a few days to get, and to analyze it, I used a website called Swipe Stats. And the findings were pretty fascinating. In January and February, I used free Tinder and averaged 3 matches a month. From March to May, I upgraded to Tinder Gold, which bumped my average to 4.6 matches a month. Then, from June to October, I subscribed to Tinder Platinum and saw a significant jump, averaging 14.6 matches a month.
Now, I want to talk about this number for a minute. Using free Tinder, he got 3 matches on average a month. That's a match every 10 days. Do you know what it's like to be a guy and you're looking at women on there, you're swiping yes on the pretty ones because, gosh, you never know. Maybe it's a real one and she might find something because men are men, right? But then you're also swiping on the ones that are kind of average, the ones that are like, she's not exactly my type, but if she's really cool and fun to hang out with, yeah, I'd probably go on a date with her. Can you imagine taking all that time to do that for an entire month and all you get is 3 matches? Because that was his February or January or whatever it is, getting 3 matches. And then come to find out those matches are a bot or somebody selling their services or somebody that doesn't reply to you. That is soul crushing for a man. You want to talk about something that makes you feel like you're nothing and you're never going to get ahead, you're never going to date, and you're never going to find anybody? It's like you're like paying for torture. Why would anybody do this? It's not just about the money. It's about what a waste of time this is while you humiliate yourself and make yourself feel horrible.
Another thing I noticed during my time on Tinder was the number of matches I got from bots or people promoting their side hustles. At first glance, it may seem obvious if you carefully examine a profile, but let's be real, we've all been there. You're in the middle of a swiping session, you see someone attractive, and you just swipe without thinking too much into it. Then a few days later, you get a match, only to realize it's not a real person. These apps are expensive, and frankly, they overpromise on a lot. It's clear that many of these algorithms are designed more to get you to keep paying than actually help you find matches. So it's no surprise then that some of these companies are being sued and labeled as predatory. They target lonely people, convincing them that paying for a subscription will dramatically improve their chances of finding a connection. But here's the darker truth. Most people who have success with dating apps are probably going to have success whether they pay for them or not.
And he's right on that. He's right on that. The people that don't have to pay, they have the success. The beautiful people, they have all the success. They don't have to pay anything. And the rest of the normies that are trying to just meet somebody, you pay and pay and pay until you realize that all the women are also chasing after the beautiful ones. And this is a summary of his match rate final totals. Hinge X, less than 1%. 4% with free Hinge. 0.012 match rate with Bumble. 0.044 with, according to the data he had on his phone versus their databases. Still, less than 1/10 of 1%. 2% match rate with Tinder Premium or Platinum, which is $50 a month or whatever it is, 0.62% with Tinder Gold, and 0.57%. In the end of this, his summary was just like, I don't think these apps are for me. You know, even though he paid the money, he jumped through the hoops, he gave it an honest shot, and he said he met some nice people, is what he said. I met some nice people. Okay, I don't think I want to pay hundreds or thousands of dollars a year to meet some nice women. I think you'd want to go to get dates, to maybe hook up, maybe go on some dates, maybe have some romance, maybe find a girlfriend. And his own experience, he said, that after paying all this money and doing 140,000 or 150,000 swipes or whatever it is, his result was, I met some nice people. So he went through all this and basically met nobody that he actually was interested in. That's the end result. And he says, I guess this isn't for me. I guess this isn't for most dudes. I went to look at the subscription tier on Tinder, and I found this interesting because somewhere in his video, he said these companies are being sued because they charge different people different amounts based on their numbers. In other words, if you're a 52-year-old guy and you want Tinder Gold or Tinder Premium, you're going to pay way more money than somebody like that's 19-year-old and that is a woman. He said the pricing structures are different. Well, I went to Tinder just out of curiosity and to look at their subscription tiers, and I noticed something. There's no pricing here. It has Tinder, it has Tinder Gold, and it has Tinder Platinum. There's no pricing. Why don't they have pricing on their tiers? I mean, if I go to buy a plane ticket, it tells me the pricing of different seating and different positions. If I go to a concert, depending on which seat I choose, it tells me a price. Why can't they just tell you the prices? Either number one, the prices are so high, it would scare people away from them. Or number two, it's not worth it. And I don't want to click on this because I don't want to give Tinder any of my information. But I have a feeling if you click this get started before they show you the tier prices, they're going to ask you your about yourself. Now, I'm going to put this on me for just a second. Because I'm going to click the get started button. I just don't want to dox myself here. And yes, it popped up. Google popped up with, do you want to autofill this? And it asks you to log in with Facebook or continue with Google. It asks you to sign in. Sign in using your already existing social media stuff. It's all a goof. For those of you on Rumble, we're going to stay on locals. We're going to do a dating profile of the day and talk for a few minutes more. So remember, if you're on Rumble and want to become a member of this awesome community over here, where we do lots of customized events and have lots of fun things, you can become a supporter today for just $5 a month. Or if you do a year supporter, it's $4. If you're unsure, just give once, give $5, come check it out, see what it's about. And I think you'll enjoy it. Let me go over here and click to the supporter only stuff.